of Black excellence and of freedom. And also on this day and at this time, we are celebrating Father's Day. We appreciate the dads, the uncles, the big cousins, the elders in the community, the pastors at the churches. You all are phenomenal. I appreciate that. And the reason I say that, and as we celebrate, is because at one point, at one time, I never knew that I would be here. And the reason I say that is because it's from the corner to the conference room. There were some things that I decided to do in my life in the mid-90s, and that's when the street game was big, and everybody wanted to be a hustler. Everybody wanted to hustle. If anybody had anything, it came from hustling. But it was my pastor who made a difference. It was also my dad who made a difference. They got me off that corner, Randall, go home, get off this corner. I want you to go home. My daddy had a plan for me. And on Father's Day, I got to say thank you. His birthday was yesterday, William C. Johnson. His birthday was June 17th. And on Father's Day, I got to say thank you. He didn't do it just one time. He did it multiple times. I was with my friends hanging out. I thought I was cool. You couldn't turn me around. But my daddy, when he ride by, he give me that look. I knew what it was. You get home. I was more afraid of my dad than of the law. I can run from the law. I can duck and dodge on for a little while. But when you go home and you have to face your dad or your mom or your uncle or that elder on your street and they did the best they can to help you, hey, you got to give thanks. And I appreciate that. And even as my daddy passed and I had to grow, I had my uncles. I had the church. I had the men on my street to raise me. It took a village to raise me. And today, I say it with grace and with strength and as humble as possible. I'm Dr. Randall Johnson. Dr. Johnson's big homie. And the reason I say that because I could have easily been at the North Carolina DOC, Department of Corrections. There were some choices that I was making at the time that were just not in the best interest of myself, or my family, or those around me. But even as I've gone on to North Carolina A&T, and we got alumni here, even if I've gone on to school, it was men in this community that still reached out to help me. Mr. Ellis, it was your nephew, Mr. Kendall Ellis. I didn't know that I wanted to go to college. He went and talked to me. Hey, Ronnie, if you're going to go to A&T, this is what you need to do. It was somebody in my community, a big homie, who showed me the way to go as far as school. Another big homie, another good friend, Jamon McAllis. Because sometimes when you're in college, you taking 18 hours, you in over your head, you're doing too much. He said, hey, look, brother, you don't have to do all that. Don't stress yourself out. Even if you just slow down and take one class, you take that one class. But don't you quit. I learned that in the community. I didn't get that from a college. I didn't get that from Reynolds High School. I got that from Shiloh University. I got that from Shiloh University. That's our home. When I've had a chance to travel in China, in the guard shacks, I put Shiloh. So just know that we worldwide. Just let them know that we've been here. But it didn't start like that. I used to be up here on this corner because all I knew was that in order to have something, you got to participate in the street game. This is what you got to have. My dad said, hey, no, son, you're not going to do that. Well, is there anything that I have not given you that you've asked for? I had to think. Sometimes, we didn't have everything. You might have to wait till Christmas. You might have to wait till a birthday. But he got it for me. I didn't have no business out there hustling. I thought that was something I needed to do. It was not the best thing for me to do. So I had to make a decision. Whether you're going to go 4 years of college, or 4 years in prison. Because if you continue this route, eventually somebody gonna hem you up. I don't care how good you are, how tough you are, how smart I am. Well, there's a few people, if not a lot more people, a little bit smarter than me. So I would put myself in a bad situation. God had a plan for me. My daddy had a plan for me. My uncles had a plan for me. The men in the community had a plan for me. And today I stand. And we pass this torch to Rashawn and to other young men like you. You got a great dad who raised you. You got brothers who are doing excellent things, doing great things. They've set the blueprint for you. And there's other men in this room that have raised great families. And everybody don't have to go to college. Hey, find something that you're good at and be the very best at it. You don't need no college degree. I had one of my cousins, I'm thinking I'm smart. I got a master's degree. I do this, I do that. My cousin, she worked at Wendy's. I say, well, what you do? She said, whatever they tell me. Guess what? I had to learn from her. She dropped out of high school. But I got a master's degree. I had to learn from her. And I appreciate that. My cousin been through a lot. Thank you, cuz. Thank you, Tiny. I needed that. Whatever they tell me to do. Don't ever be to a point where you don't listen. The key to anything that I've learned, even from those at the highest levels of education, I've talked to some people who studied at George Washington University, at Harvard, at Carolina. It's about listening. If you can listen, you can change the world. Right. Just remember that. It's about listening. You can say a whole lot of things, but listen as well. Listening is just as important as speaking. It's listening. So if you're growing up, if you're going through things, if you're going through life, listen. And I'm going to go out on this one right here because we're celebrating Freedom Day, the birth of Black excellence. And what I mean by that, if you think about what we have right now, this room is powerful. People are powerful. People that work hard, they do the best they can. And Black excellence to me is giving your best effort. Okay? But there were some people that, let's talk about the point of no return as far as the slave trade. And there's some elders in here that may know a lot more than I do, and please share with me at some point. But with the slave trade, there were both Africans who traded slaves, Europeans who traded slaves. It was just for business. But you got to think, when the Europeans came to build America, one of the greatest countries in the world, they had to get some of the greatest people in the world. You can't build anything great without great people. So as they came to Africa, they called them explorers. But really, they were casing us, checking us out. What are they doing? They got gold, they got diamonds, they got oil, they got people, they got some of the most beautiful women on the planet, and some of the strongest men on the planet. Right here in Africa. You got to know this. Some of our greatest resources come from Africa. So they say, okay, in order to build this land over here, we're going to need these people to build that for us. And then, once they get us, because we live in a good life. We had Timbuktu, we had Songhai, we had Mali, Ghana. These are African kingdoms. Okay? We were all right now. So in the process, all of a sudden that's gone. You're on the west coast of Africa. You're no longer with your wife, your kids. Everything that you know is behind you now. So now we be on these ships. And they got to get us with 3 to 4 month voyage, 2 to 3 months across this ocean. They got to get us across the ocean. Now you got to think. Some people died. Their bodies couldn't take it. Some people fought because there's no way. There was resistance. They had to kill them, get them off the ship. They were fighting. And I understand that. So from the first moment of captivity, the first thought was freedom. Oh my God, I need your help, Lord. This can't be. So from that instant, that very moment, we begin to fight for our freedom. Whether we be in shackles or not, from that moment, if a man or woman of color, if you're African and your people, God was on that boat, that first instant, that last instant, and from here on out, was freedom. And that's what we have today, freedom. And with that freedom, you got to think. You got to think almost 400 years later, and if you're in this room and you can hear me, you got a heartbeat, guess what? And your people come over on that ship, you got power you didn't even know about. We draw from that power. We draw from it. It's from our ancestors. Anything that we go through in the workplace, anything that we go through in the community, they tell you that you can't, but you better know that you can. Because we come from greatness, and then from shackles you fought from day one, from the moment of captivity, you fought. That's in your DNA. That's ambition. You can't let that go. It'll never go anywhere until we own it. And we not. We were the first and guaranteed to be the last. The original man was African. We got to know who we are. I don't care what you have or what you don't. You a man. You stand as a man. And as our women, you stand strong. We need y'all. But we stand strong. It ain't about having things, about money and all of that. It's not about that. What do you do? What are you contributing to your people? I know some people in this room right now. They won't say no more than 10 words, but they change their lives every day. They work in silence. They change their lives. They volunteer, they cooking, they're doing different things to build a strong community. Shiloh would not be anything without the men in this room. Asheville would not be who we are without the men and women that were in this room. So man, we have a strong legacy. And it all started, not all started then, but from that ship, from that captivity, we began to birth black excellence. And then everything they put before us, from Jim Crow to segregation, to taking the voting laws, to mass incarceration, police brutality, miseducation, and we still stand. We still some of the strongest people in the world. And I'm gonna close on this right here. We always hear about America, and I love America. I'm glad to be here. I also love Africa. I've never been there. I want to go. But I got to say this. They say America is like one of the most powerful, one of the strongest nations in the world. Well, it's not because we got the most weapons or because we got the most economic power. Well, we might, But I'm going to tell you why we're the most powerful nation on the planet. Because they have more black men incarcerated than any other country on the planet. And at any time you can release those people and then they can reproduce those genes and those genetics. We were the Buffalo Soldiers. And we got people who still fought in the wars and made us free today. Without the Buffalo Soldier, it wouldn't be America. Without Christmas addicts firing that first shot, it wouldn't be no America. If it wasn't for Prince Hall laying the foundation, there would be no black America. The first churches, the first schools, the first organizations come from Prince Hall. He set the blueprint. Hey, now we just got to pass the torch. And for all the dads that are here and involved in your child's life, thank you. And for all the children who listen to me, your dad is not in your life, that's okay. You love your dad. It's not my business to understand everything. Love your dad, but I will suggest this. You be the man that you wanted your dad to be. That's right. You be that man. You be that father. You show up at that game. I don't care what you got. You show up at that game. Right. And on Father's Day, I got to thank my dad. He didn't even have a license. Didn't even have a car. I sat the bench, and he was still at every game because he loved me. I'm out there missing layups just because my daddy in the crowd. It makes a difference. Because my daddy in the crowd, I feel like I can do anything. So next time I'm at work and I work with you, and I see a young brother, a young kid in there, and he say, my daddy don't have anything to do with us. Hey, look, you got a community full of men. Let's pick somebody that you can relate to, identify with, because they need us. Nobody can raise young black men but black men. And we've had some strong sisters, some strong black women to raise our families, and we thank y'all for that. We can never forget that, and we thank y'all. But this time, we're going to change the narrative. As black men, if you got a cell phone, raise your hand. If you got a cell phone, all right, that's part one. You got that. Do you have a nephew, a little cousin, or a son, or somebody in your family? Raise your hand if you got one of them. Somebody. So guess what? We got 1 + 1. that's part of the math. So from this point on, just get involved. Just give them a call, give them a text. Hey nephew, I ain't got a whole lot to say to you today, but I love you. Keep doing good. Talk to you later. It don't have to be a long conversation, making them think, oh, you're going to preach to them every time. No. I don't have anything to say. I just want to make sure you're okay. Can I help you? What are you doing that I can help you with? And at the end of the day, you've done your part. Because everybody can't join the program. Everybody can't go to the school. But everybody got a cell phone. Everybody got a nephew in the family. Then we're going to take that and carry it on. So anyway, y'all, we're going to celebrate Black excellence. That's giving your best effort. Man, this is a beautiful day, the day of freedom. Our people went 2 years of freedom and didn't even know it. Could you imagine that? That's like being on a job. You supposed to be got paid. These people ain't paid you in 2 years. You like, what? We have a big, they don't pay us in 1 week. Oh, we're going to talk to them people. You talking about 2 years. You've been free. You've been free. And nobody came to talk to them. They even said, hey, you go on. You go on. And I'm going to set it down right here. I said it before, right here. Between 1865 and 1877, we come out of slavery. We don't have anything. We ain't got no credit. We ain't got no leverage. Nothing like that. All we had was God. We knew how to pray. Secondly, we knew to get educated. Learn how to read, write, and count. From 1865 to 1877, in 12 years, you have more black progress than they've ever had in American history. Black businesses, black politicians. Come on, man, we took it to a whole nother 12 years. Imagine if they gave us an opportunity now, what we'll do. Hey, man, we're bad people. You better know all people beautiful people. God loves all people. But we're kings and we got to know it. And we got queens and we got to protect them and we got to provide for them. Let's raise our families, y'all. Let's change the narrative. Let's be present in our children's lives as we pass the torch. And I thank all of y'all for helping me be the man that I am. So when you know that I'm in the conference room and I'm speaking and I'm Dr. Johnson, I'm speaking for my family, my community, and all the people that made me who I am today. Thank y'all. Dr. Johnson, be home. Peace.